everybody, I'm Tim, and today we're diving back into the secret language of cigars. Honduras edition. You're watching Cigars Daily. Hey, get a whole lot more out of this video when you watch it on Rumble and on the community on Cigars Daily Plus. The world of cigars uses its own secret language to describe the things that we love, and if you get into this, you're gonna catch yourself using these words like criollo and corojo and viso and robusto and jalapa. They're all terms that mean drastically different things, and if you use them and don't know what they are, my gosh, how could you ever truly enjoy it? It's the thing I love about cigars. They're as simple as they are complex. You can just enjoy the experience of a premium cigar or dive in head first into an ocean that is deep and wide and learn a ton. And that's why we're here for this video. In my first video in this series, Justin Anders from Diesel Cigars joined me to explain the growing regions of Nicaragua. But in this video, I'm going to take you through all of the growing regions in Honduras. And I know what you're saying. Jim, Honduras it's the home of the world's largest Spanish-speaking lizard museum. And of course, you're right. You're talking about El Museo del Reptil in La Ceiba. But that's not the only thing Honduras is known for. It's also the country with one of the most dangerous airports in the world to land into. And coincidentally, as an offshoot of all that weirdness, they also grow long filler tobacco for premium cigars. Truth be told, in Honduras, this is not a colossally massive part of their economy, making up about 2 to 3% of domestic exports every year. It's about $200 million. And this is a huge change from what you see in Nicaragua, where at one point over the last few years, cigars were their number 4 domestic export. So a much bigger slice of the economic pie in Nicaragua than Honduras, but to us cigar smokers, Honduras feels like a huge place to have cigars made because there are so few places in the world that do it. It's basically Nicaragua, Honduras, and the Dominican Republic. We do grow and roll in some other countries, but these are the beating heart of the cigar world. So today, I want to take you inside the different growing regions of Honduras. So when you see these terms pop up in the blending information, you'll know a little bit more about what they mean. This is stuff you'll see listed under wrapper or binder or filler of certain cigars. And so with no further ado, let's dive right in to Honduras, but not via the airport because it legitimately is incredibly dangerous. There's like a mountain and you have to fly the plane around the mountain. And then as you land, you slip down into the runway and it just sounds like the most horrifying thing out there. And planes are already not working that well these days. So let's talk about the growing regions. Right off the top of the list, I want to give you the cigar maker cheat code for making cigars in Honduras. There's a growing region there you may have heard of, and if you haven't, you will hear about this increasingly. The place is called the Jamastran Valley. Now, Jamastran Valley, it sounds romantic. It sounds like a great place. I mean, it's fun to say. The truth is, the Jamastran Valley is actually just north of the border of Nicaragua. And when I say just north, I mean you could spit from Honduras into Nicaragua if you're in the Jamastran Valley. In the north of Nicaragua, they have the Jalapa Valley, where there's a lot of tobacco grown today. And then just over the border from that, in the same range of hills and mountains, you've got the Jamastran Valley. The reason I say this is a cheat code for cigar makers is that they are able to grow leaf in Honduras in the Jamastran Valley that has a very similar characteristic to what you find coming out of Jalapa. This is a place where you find a lot of character that's bold and spicy, which sounds very similar to Nicaraguan leaf. Full flavored leaves, and you find a lot of corojo leaf and habano leaf gets grown in this valley. There are more and more projects coming out these days that are from the Jamastran Valley, but one cigar that prominently features Jamastran leaf and has for a very long time is Alec Bradley's Prensado. The cigar uses leaf from that region. Might be why it's one of Cigar Aficionado's top 25 cigars for years. The next Honduran growing region is one that's just as fun to say as Jamastran, and it is the Talanga Valley. Go ahead, say it while you're at home right now. I promise it's fun. But the Talanga Valley is located in central Honduras, a little further away from Nicaragua. And it is most famous for being a wretchedly awful place for agriculture and farming. You see, the Talanga Valley is an incredibly mountainous place, and I don't know if you've ever done any farming before, but it's tough to do when you don't have a lot of flat ground. It's also famously very windy, which is just the worst for quick-growing crops like the long black air-cured tobacco for premium cigars. But this is actually one of the things about the cigar world and what they've done in Honduras that I love. I frequently say that cigar people are survivors. They're the unkillable ones. They'll figure out how to overcome any obstacle in order to pursue the art and craft of making handmade cigars. In the Tanga Valley, farmers have used a method called Inkcayado. And this is essentially a way to do wind-shielded farming for these crops. Normally, the air in these winds would strip the leaves of all of their moisture and, create dried out crops, but they create windshields with massive rows of trees and shrubs and bushes and even tall grass that shields the crops from these heavy winds. With this, combined with some of the other amazing farming techniques today, has allowed the Talanga Valley to become a prime growing place for tobacco in the country. It's most famously known for growing leaf that's smooth and balanced, even aromatic, and they often grow shade-grown leaf there, and you'll find it in cigars like El Rey del Mundo's Shade. Because Talanga Valley, even though it's mountainous and super windy, is a great place to put up a shade, block some of that wind, and grow Honduran shade-grown wrapper leaf. And then you got a region that, well, I just didn't even know it existed until about last year when I started working on a project with Oscar Valderez. You see, we created some cigars, one called the Earth by Oscar. It's a daily edition blend. And then we box pressed that and called it the Flat Earth by Oscar because it just seemed like the right thing to do. A decision that, by the way, I still stand by today. But one of the things that sets this cigar apart from all the other cigars in the Leaf by Oscar line and a lot of the Oscar Valderez cigars is that the filler uses a leaf from the Copan growing region of Honduras. Now, this is a place I had never seen listed in blending information. I had never heard about a cigar that uses the leaf here, but truly what it added to the earth was this earthy, rustic, and really nice, sweet, naturally sweet leaf that gives this sweet characteristic to the blend. And I noticed this stand out with the Flat Earth and the Earth. The Flat Earth, the box-pressed version, removes one filler of non-Copan leaf from the blend, which brings that sweetness out in the box-pressed blend in a spectacular way. So while Copan isn't the premier growing region of Honduras, it does grow some unique leaf that adds truly specifically unique character to the flavor profile of the cigars that we use it in. And then there's a grander region in Honduras called La Entrada. Now this you'll read about a little bit more frequently than Copan, although these two regions can be associated. Unlike the Talanga region where they're growing a lot of shade-grown wrapper leaf, the Entrada region grows this nice earthy, nutty, really nice tobacco for combustion. A colossal thing that we don't talk a lot about as aficionados. You see, when blenders sit down to put together a premium cigar, they're thinking about a flavor profile that they want to achieve, but they have to think about combustion as well. In order to create a cigar that burns evenly, there has to be the element of matching combustion between leaves. If the wrapper leaf has a higher combustion rate than the filler leaves, it'll never burn evenly. And so La Entrada does grow leaves that are frequently used for filler leaves and give that combustion element to help match binder and filler. One famous cigar that uses leaf from La Entrada is Rocky Patel's Edge, specifically the Edge Corojo. But there's now a whole line of Edge cigars, and this sort of earthy, nutty flavor is a central part of the profile that runs through that whole line, and a lot of other lines that use that kind of leaf. And the last notable cigar area in Honduras isn't actually a growing region, but it's the one you'll want to know about. I mean, these days, as cigar makers seem to be flocking to Honduras, building factories and growing more leaf and diversifying, which is one of the smartest things they can do, making sure that they've got growing and rolling operations in both Nicaragua and Honduras, which makes a lot of sense in case there's an economic turnover or some sort of social turnover, or hell, even if things just get politically weird, it's good to have a factory in both countries since they border each other. Danli is a town that is just north of the border of Nicaragua. It's not far. I mean, if you were in Esteli and you wanted to go up to Danli, it would take you a couple of hours to get there. But this is a city that's like the hub of cigar making in Honduras. If someone were to go to Honduras and want to see a cigar factory, odds are you would end up in the city of Danli. As far as cigar aficionados are concerned, Danli is to Honduras what Esteli is to Nicaragua. These two towns are the hub for cigar making in the area, and they happen to be so close to each other that for cigar makers who are doing that diversifying, going a couple hours up the road and building a factory in Danli makes good sense, especially since this is a country where you can find a ton of growing done as well. And even though cigars aren't one of the prime exports of Honduras, it is a booming place for the cigar industry. While today there are lots of companies flocking there, two notable ones being Oliva and My Father's Cigars, who have both been heavily involved building factories in that country, there are other brands who have been doing it for a long time. Brands like Camacho, Gran Habano Cigars, and Alec Bradley have all been rolling cigars in Honduras for a very long time. The country is rich with heritage and rich with history of premium cigars. And I'll ask you this, drop it in the comments. Do you have the Honduran bug? Is there a Honduran blend that's blew your mind or taken over your humidor? I would love to hear more about this from you. And of course, get more out of this video when you check it out on the Community on Cigars Daily Plus and on Rumble. And thank you so much for watching. This is Tim signing off for Cigars Daily, and I will see you in the comments.